Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, today's first story comes from Gernunda, who says, my 26 male, sister 27 female. They just contacted me after not talking to me for 6 whole years. She says that she wants to meet up so that we can talk, and I'm having mixed feelings. Now, I want to give you a couple of trigger warnings on this one. That's on the post itself. It says discussions of incest and loss of a parent. And it says, my sister Grace and I were always very close when we were growing up and never really had any major issues with each other. We had the normal sibling rows, but nothing significant. As she was older, I always kind of looked up to her. Our mother passed away when we were young, and lung cancer got my father the same year that I went away for college, when I was 19. So my sister is the only immediate family that I had left. One day when I was 20, Grace sat me down and said that the two of us needed to talk. She said in essence that she didn't think it was a good idea for the two of us to stay in contact any longer. She said that it wasn't anything that I did or said, and that it was because she didn't think it was healthy for herself to continue staying in contact with me. She wouldn't get any more specific than that, and it was clear that this wasn't a mutable position for her. I've gone over it dozens of times in my head, and I've never really figured out exactly what she meant. The two of us weren't codependent or extremely close. We would talk on the phone maybe once or twice a week, and would see each other maybe 2 or 3 times a month. Eventually I realized that thinking about it wouldn't change anything, so there was really no point in trying to understand her reasoning. Since then, she hasn't contacted me at all, until now. I've had the urge on a number of occasions to try and find her, but ultimately I respect people's boundaries, and if she didn't want to see me, then that is her decision to make. Recently, someone left a voicemail at my extension at the company I worked for. I knew right away from their voice that it was her. She said that it was her. She knows it has been a long time. Left a callback number and asked if I would call her, and we could get together and talk. I'm not quite sure how she even found me. I don't use any sort of social media, except for LinkedIn, but my company lists the names, schools, etc. of their executives publicly, so that might be it, which would explain why she called me there. Honestly, I really have missed her. However, I know it's wrong of me to say this, but I'm honestly quite angry with her. She wasn't there for me when I graduated college. She wasn't there for me when I got my master's. She wasn't there for me for 6 whole years. I really, really want to see her and maybe finally get some answers, but I don't know if that's a good idea. Should I contact her back and meet up, or would it just be better to ignore her / tell her that I'm not interested in seeing her? Again, we've covered like similar situations to this one in the past, and for me it's always like, it's a very personal decision. If you think it's something that's going to affect you in a negative way, then absolutely don't do it, of course. For myself, if I was in OP's position, and a lot of the time I would say this isn't a good thing for most people, but for me, I need to know that I would need answers. Even if it doesn't change the way that you feel in the end, you can still walk away from it. But if you think it'd give you any kind of closure and help you in some form, then for myself, I would want to go for it. But again, I think it's a very, very personal thing. If you think it's going to affect you negatively in any sort of way, just simply don't go. But Mrs. Anthrop says, honestly, I don't think I could live with not knowing. Opie says, yes, I'm pretty curious to hear a reason. Like I said, I already come to terms with the fact that that's just how things were. So I can definitely live without knowing. I already have. Another user says, tell her she should send you an email with a damn good reason why she abandoned you, and not expect and feel entitled to any response. Another user says, please consider making contact with a therapist before you meet with your sister, so you have a professional trained safety net to debrief with. If your sister has not been around you for 6 years, you might want a safe person to speak frankly with outside of your daily life. Opie says, this sounds like a good idea. I used to see a psychologist a few years ago who helped me to quit my smoking habit, so it will probably be a good idea to book an appointment with her, if she's still practicing. Then OP replied to a comment and quoted people along the way, giving additional context to the dynamic between them. First said, in quoting, sister is the older sibling and takes on the mother role, and then says no, that was never really our dynamic. I never viewed her as any sort of parental or authority figure, and that wasn't really the nature of our interactions. If anything, she was my friend. Quoting again, saying sister takes care of dad when he's dying, sister also having to take care of younger brother, who is only 1 year younger. Because of guilt and family, dad finally dies, sister helps take care of the estate, sister tired, grieving, very young still, and having a freak out moment. OP says, the college I went to was in state, hers was out of state. And I was the one who was primarily taking care of my dad during his final time. Taking him to chemo, helping him with medical arrangements, driving him to the hospital when necessary. I was the one who primarily planned with my dad what we would do in the event of his death. Neither of us really was interested in the house, so after asking for her input and getting her okay, I had our father draft a will basically saying that his assets, really just the house, would be sold, debts paid, then my sister and I split the net. OP quotes saying, sister has never really felt like she is able to relax or have fun or be a young girl because of responsibilities. Younger brother is leaning on sister still. Sister is protecting him and shielding him like she always did, but it's just too much all of a sudden. OP says, like I said, we weren't attached at the hip close. I never really viewed her as my protector or anything. We would only ever talk maybe once or twice a week on the phone, and we wouldn't see each other any more than 2 or 3 times a month. She's more a peer to me than anything. I'm sure she would have been responsible for me if she needed to be, but I've never been dependent on others to do things I can do myself. And quotes one more time saying, sister goes, I need to take care of myself for once in her life, but realizes if brother stays, she will continue taking care of him. OP says, our dynamic was never really one of caretaker and caretakee. If you remove the biological connection, then we were really just good friends. There was no lopsided dependency or anything like that. So, at some point later, OP came back into the post and says, I did end up calling her back. I wasn't prepared to meet her right away, so I took a suggestion given to me in the previous thread and gave her my email. I told her I'd rather us email together for a while before getting together, and that she could start by telling me what happened, where she has been for all this time, and why she's seeking me out now. She initially sent me an extremely long email, so I just provide an outline of what happened. So, according to her, when we were around 15 to 16, she began to develop some inappropriate feelings towards me. She said in the beginning it wasn't anything serious, but she knew it was wrong. During the period in which our father got sick and eventually passed away, she started to rely upon me more and more, which apparently made these feelings more intense. She felt like she couldn't be a good sibling to me, like she felt that I needed at the time, and that continued contact between us would only make things worse. So she thought it was best if we just broke things off, like pulling off a band-aid, I guess. She says that she knows things might have been hard for me, so she's going to try to be honest and open with me going forward. She admitted that she doesn't think that she's completely over it, but that I've been on her mind lately, and she really doesn't like the way we left things. Since we stopped talking, apparently she'd been doing quite well for herself. She ended up finishing her CS degree and has been working as a software developer at a game development studio. After emailing back and forth for about a day or so, I agreed to meet her for a coffee, and we planned to chat for 30 minutes or so. It went really well. I was happy to see her. We ended up talking and catching up for about an hour and 20 minutes before I had to leave for a video chat I had scheduled. All in all, I think the situation is very bittersweet for me. It's relieving to have some sort of closure and explanation after all this time, and it was really nice seeing her, and I look forward to maybe gradually including her in my life in the future. That being said, there is suddenly a part of me that is very squicked out by the whole thing and would have preferred to be left in the dark or lied to. Kinda says to this one, what type of inappropriate feelings? Opie says, I didn't want to be too specific, but they were of a sexual nature. I didn't want to ask for anything more specific than that. Swivel says, hey OP, are you familiar with the comedian Maria Bamford? She's open about her mental health struggles, and I once heard her describe on the podcast Hilarious World of Depression, agitated depression, and the intrusive sexual thoughts it caused her to have about her family. Given her grief around that time, it's not that uncommon a symptom of emotional crisis, if that helps you any. Realistic Sandwich says, it is actually a pretty common theme for intrusive thoughts when people have been through trauma. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Whew. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from ComputerLich, who says, my 23 male girlfriend, 23 female, is making Dungeons and Dragons sessions not fun for the group I run games for. Hello. I was not sure if this would be better posted on a sub that deals more with tabletop RPG, Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm in need of advice. My girlfriend and I have been dating for about 11 months now, and things have been pretty good between us. We have a few ups and downs, but nothing serious. She and I both love the game Dungeons and Dragons, and so I'd invited her to join the group I run games for. It is, or rather was, a nice way for us to bond. Shortly after inviting her to join in on my games, some stuff happened with her grandparents and her family was going to move out of town to a location that is about 3 to 4 hours away. Neither of us wanted to do a long distance relationship. Had a bad experience with one anyways, so I let her move in with me. Since I'm a student and my income would not support the both of us, she got a job on the campus I go to. Shortly after she started working, I'd noticed her attitude and behavior changed drastically. At first, when things did not go away in the game, she would joke, "I'll have you sleep on the couch," which was said in a joking manner, so everyone found it kind of funny. She never would force me to sleep on the couch, so I did not mind it. A few months later, she became easier to upset during the games and would argue specific decisions I made for the sake of the game. Most of the time, they were small and did not really affect the game or anyone's fun. Other times, her argument would completely halt the game, as I would have to stop and read the rules out to her, saying exactly why something was decided that way. During this time, she continued to say stuff similar to, "I'll have you sleep on the couch," but in a more serious and angry tone. Granted, she never followed through with making me sleep on the couch. But anyways, this all leads up to last night where I was running a session and she became upset over the number of monsters the party had fought that night. After an encounter with a bunch of really weak monsters, the party ran into some wild barbarians who attacked the party. This is when she threatened to make me sleep on the couch if I did not wrap up the encounter fast. I decided to ignore her threat for the time, since I did not want to argue and just wanted to wrap things up for the night. The other party members, most in their 20s, both guys, girls, and my sister, appeared to be really uncomfortable with her suddenly getting so upset about an encounter that the party could definitely handle. Through the encounter, things went well for the group. My girlfriend halfway through the encounter completely shut down after she missed an attack. This in particular upset one of the players, 20 female, and that player was visibly trying not to burst in anger. After the session, the player wanted to speak to me alone and told me that my girlfriend's behavior is making the game not fun for her, but also for pretty much the entire party. She feels that my girlfriend is emotionally abusing me to get what she wants in game. She also informed me that one of the players, 17 female, explicitly did not want to come because of how my girlfriend had been acting. I told the player that I would talk to my girlfriend about her behavior that night. I did end up having a conversation with my girlfriend about it. She expressed she does not know why she gets so angry. Quick note, I've observed her behavior when I'm not the one running the session, and she does not at all act the same when someone else is running the session. This is where I need advice. She's a wonderful girlfriend and I care about her so much. I never got the feeling that she may be abusive. I do not know if I should kick her from my game, which I feel would just make everything worse. I'm just at a loss what I should do next. I just do not know. Now for me, the fact that people within this group are pointing out your girlfriend's behavior and talking to you about it says it all to me. People are actively avoiding sessions because of her behavior. It tells you everything that you need to know. When you're not being the DM in this situation, she seems absolutely fine. So it seems to be something to do with you that she feels that she can do this. And her saying that she doesn't know why she gets angry, that needs to be solved, whatever it is. But the first comment I said to OP, she's taking the game far too seriously. It's supposed to be fun. OP said, "This is one of the things I told her last night. I hope that she sees where I'm coming from when I told her that." Morgar says, "I know it's going to suck and be uncomfortable, but you got to just have a straight up, honest conversation with her about this. She's behaving spoiled, entitled, and overall with poor sportsmanship. No one wants to play with someone behaving like that. Explain to her that she's making other people uncomfortable and that soon she'll no longer be welcome to play. Hopefully she'll be receptive, rational, mature, and adjust her behavior. You guys have not been dating long, and at this point, you're starting to learn more about the person she is beyond the honeymoon stage. Her entitled attitude and abusive language towards you will not be limited to D&D. Will start to seep into other circumstances wherein she doesn't get her way. So if she flips out and is totally non-receptive to your respectful approach, consider ending the relationship, and don't think of it as breaking up because of a game. Think of it as breaking up because she has a shitty attitude and uses anger to get what she wants. You sound like a kind dude. You don't need that shit. Opie says, I will try and see if that attitude starts showing up outside of games. So far, I've not really noticed it. She tends to be needy if anything, but that for me is not much of an issue. But OP came in with an update and said, this update is being written the morning after a pretty great session with the group I'm running for. I spoke to her about her behavior, and we worked it out. I did tell her that I really do not want that sort of behavior in my games, and she understood. The next few days she kind of moped around because she thought the rest of the party would hate her. But after she talked to them on Discord, she felt better. She told me that she would try to take the games less seriously. The next session we had, which was last night, I made it clear to the whole party about new ground rules I wanted to set. Mostly so that nothing like what happened in the previous post would happen again, but also to make sure everyone knew I was no longer going to tolerate that behavior. The whole party as a whole seemed on board with it, and we got started playing. My girlfriend had some actual fun, and the rest of the party also had some good laughs. It personally felt really good to see everything running so smoothly. My girlfriend after the session asked me how she was, and I told her that she was fine and that her attitude in the game was great. It seems to me that she will be trying her best to do better. She did seem interested in possibly talking to a therapist about how stressed she's been feeling. I told her that I would support her either way, and if she really wanted to go see one, then we would figure something out for her to go. Thank you all for the advice. It really helped me out with this. Edit, thank you for all your support. I mean, it would have been interesting to get another update a few weeks down the road to see what happened after that, but at this moment in time, I think it's a pretty positive update. Obviously, the initial behavior was pretty shitty, but a conversation about it seems to have got things back on the right track, and her potentially talking to a professional to find out what the actual underlying reason is behind all this is a step in the right direction in my opinion. But what do you guys make of this situation? Have you ever had your own D&D drama going on? Woohoo! That sounds quite exciting. Don't forget to let me know at r/marknarrations, and let's have another little cheeky story, shall we? Now, our next story was cross-posted to our own subreddit, Mark Narrations, from the Relationship Advice subreddit. Emotionally Damaged sent this one across, and it's titled, I, 33 male, and developing a crush on my wife's 34 female cousin, 33 female. How long until these feelings fade? And this was from a throwaway account. It says, I have a huge crush on my wife's cousin Candice. This is a terrible situation I found myself in. I should say, I genuinely think I have the greatest wife, Anna, in the world, and it's not even close. She's an amazing woman, mother, and wife. When I met her, she approached me at the bar, and I was flattered. We hit it off almost instantly. She was nervous, but I found it cute, and she said she doesn't normally approach guys but wanted to talk. Later that night, her cousin/best friend came, and my jaw was on the ground. Candice is just a fucking gorgeous machine. Weird. Everything about her, but it was too late. I did wonder how different things would have been if I met Candice first, but 10 years later I would say things worked out. We got married and have a great little girl. The thought had completely left my head until recently. About 2 months ago, Candice had to drop something off, and I took off while my wife was at work. She had borrowed my laptop because hers broke while she gets a new one. We were just talking and drinking wine, watching 90 Day Fiancé, and she confessed to me that when she showed up, she thought I was handsome, and it sucked I was already talking to Anna. My jaw was on the ground, and I told her when I saw her I was like damn and wishing I saw you first. And she said, is that so? I immediately changed the subject, but my heart was pounding. Eventually she left and went home. She later texted me saying she just wants to hook up one time and that she would text my wife that she needs help fixing her dishwasher and to reply yes or no, and then delete the conversation. She said she would understand either way. I just said I will be over there and deleted the message. I waited, and my wife said she would take care of our daughter and that Candice needs help with the dishwasher. I went over there with zero intention to have sex with her and let her know that we can't do this. But unfortunately, things went the other direction and had sex. We agreed it was just a one-time, you only live once moment, and that was that. Unfortunately, that moment started bringing up old feelings I thought was gone. She became much more flirty discreetly. I've been being distant towards my wife. We both know we can't act on it, but I kinda wish we could be together. But it would hurt too many people, and I can't do that. But at events, we became closer. I had food on my face yesterday, and she was wiping it off. That annoyed my wife, who said she can wipe off my husband's face. She even complained about it in the car, but I reassured her that she's overreacting. Yeah, I'm in a sticky situation and just need help removing my feelings before things get out of control. How can I lose these feelings so I can focus on my family? Edit, I get it, I'm a piece of shit. You don't have to tell me because no one feels more disgusted at myself than I am. I just want actual advice on how to have these feelings fade so I can focus on my family. I won't respond to comments just attacking me and not giving me genuine advice on how to make the best out of this really shitty situation. That last line, help remove your feelings before things get out of control. They're already out of control. You've cheated on your wife, man. And the blunt truth of the matter in this situation is, you can't hide this now. You know, it's going to come out eventually. That cousin's going to say something, going to reveal it in some way, shape or form. And quite frankly, your wife just deserves to know. And I think you're lying to yourself when you said that wasn't your intention to go over there and have sex with her when, you know, she invited you over to have sex. You replied that yes, you will be going over. You said it wasn't your intention to have sex with her, but there was no need for you to go over at all. You went over there with the intention and you acted on it. Now is the part where you need to take responsibility for your actions, admit to what you've done, and then let people make the choices that they deserve to make after this. But the top commenter says, bro, this isn't a crush. You cheated on your wife. You need to tell her because eventually it's going to come out anyway. Better from you than a cousin. Worldly says, this is why cheating is not just a mistake, but a series of bad decisions and actions that lead up to the betrayal. OP, if you truly want to stay with your wife, you must tell her the complete truth and let her decide whether or not she wants to reconcile with you. You must immediately cut all contact and communication with your affair partner. You must sign up for individual counseling to figure out why you're such a lying, selfish, cowardly arsehole who has no self-control and no respect for his wife to not only betray her, but with someone who is a family. You deserve every bit of vitriol and karma that is about to come your way. Congratulations on letting your lust ruin your wife's heart. Another commenter says, you reassured her that she was overreacting. Sir, she is unknowingly underreacting. Don't be a gaslighting dick. Step up and tell her what happened. You cheated and now you're making your wife feel crazy because you're telling her any kind of feelings are all in her head. Though also, it's surprising to me you're using real names. Is this a fake story? Judgment Key says you're a cheater. You actively cheated on your wife. You didn't just catch feelings, and that is your wife's cousin, and you are both gross. You need to tell your wife. This will eventually come out and you betrayed your wife and your daughter. Because when you cheat on the whole family. And you need to cut contact with the cousin immediately, and your wife needs to know what kind of family she picked. You. And has let into her life. Cousin. Good job. I always find like situations like this, especially when we don't get the update to it straight away or anything like that, incredibly sad. You know, we're just seeing an arsehole's point of view at this moment in time and his feelings and how he feels like shit, etc. But the person on the other end who's currently unknowing in this situation, and it's likely to come out at some point, right? And their life is about to fall apart and they don't even know it yet. Man, that is rough. But at the same time, of course, they do deserve to know so they can make the choices knowing every detail. Maybe they might try to work on their relationship. Maybe they will just cut and leave and start afresh. But whatever it is, it will be their decision to make. But what do you guys make of this situation? Can't imagine your comments on this one. Holy moly. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows.